p.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. East Coast. That means it is 4 a.m. Pacific. Nobody in California is joining us. But if you are, I hope you had a good time at the bar. And I'm glad you're going to bed with us.
I think they're all, but I think California has like massive shutdowns right now.
They do.
So now you're rubbing it in.
Well, maybe not going to the bar.
Well, the bar could be located anywhere. The bar could be located right in your living room.
Right. In your basement. Yes.
In your basement or your kitchen.
So as we're waiting for people to join us for a couple seconds, I want to tell you, Bobby, it's a big day here. Because Spotify released, and I knew they did this last week because I've been seeing people talking, you have too, people talking about Spotify's releasing the songs you listen to more than any in 2020. And every year I look forward to this to see, because you say what your favorite songs are, but then you see the proof. Like, this is what I really listen to. Now, most years, my list is absolute crap. And the reason it is because I always host these game nights. So I play a bunch of music that I really don't care for that much, but I play that as much as I play music by myself. So like last year's was just horrible. Like, I listened to it and I was so disappointed. I'm like, none of these.
Why are you playing music you don't like if you're the one hosting? Shouldn't you be playing what you like?
Yeah, no, to give people an idea of what, hey, Sarah, you're up early. To give everybody an idea of where I come from with my music, I was a DJ for 10 years playing, weddings and parties and all this stuff, paying my way through college. And I started as a sophomore in high school. So my taste in music now is stuff that you don't hear on the radio. So Bobby, if I played you my favorite songs, if you don't care that much about music, it's nice background. You're like, oh, this is cool. But if you want to hear music that you will never hear music listening to music that I like. I mean, rarely. Or you'll hear really quirky stuff. Like my number one song for last year, and this is what made me so excited about last year, was that all this bad crap with COVID, everything stinks, right? The only upside was I hosted no parties. I was around nobody. So my 2020 list I listened to this morning, phenomenal. It's like all my favorite songs because nobody listened to my music but me because I couldn't be around anybody.
So it was all about you is what you're saying.
It was all about me. But my number one song for last year was Bobby Darin's Beyond the Sea. You know Beyond the Sea?
Song. So, I love that song. Yes. I would enjoy that song during a game night.
Yes.
I don't know why you would not. Would you? So you would not play that if I came over for game night? You wouldn't play that song? I love that song.
Maybe I overstated it because that song I can play at game night. There's sprinkled in there. But other songs, I think my number two song you probably know too, was Blossom Dearie, Manhattan. I'll Take Manhattan.
Oh yeah,
I'll take Manhattan, the jazz standard thing. And then my number three was Just My Type. What is that song? You're just my type. You know that song too. But then beyond that, it gets pretty obscure. So Hotel Vincent, somebody's going to know it. Somebody hanging out with us, save me. So how are you? You had your anniversary.
I'm so tired. I know. I'm so tired right now.
So
we had our anniversary dinner. We've been married 14 years.
All right.
Yay.
Cheers. It's fantastic.
So cheers with my water that I'm drinking. So we actually did, we did something very radical. We went out to dinner at a restaurant that we go to pretty much every anniversary that we really love, and we wanted to support them. And I felt they had a very safe setup, so I feel good about that. And hopefully everything will be okay. But they had a good setup. There were very few people there.
Speaking of safety, I jumped online last night to just hang out with friends. And oh boy, Sarah, I can imagine Sarah's top Sarah's Spotify list. That's what it felt like, Sarah, after game night. I'm like, oh man, I don't love any of these songs. But anyway, we so I jump online last night to just play golf with some friends because you can play golf on the Xbox. So text a couple of my friends. We jump on the Xbox, and a friend of mine says, "Hey, I got great news. I just poured myself some scotch to drink while we're playing golf and just check, because we don't really play. I mean, we play golf and we're, taking turns like on the, but we're really just chatting
It's
and
social,
catching up.
right? It's
yes, absolutely. Thing. He said, "Hey, I've got great news. I just poured myself a scotch." And my wife came by and said, "Man, that smells really strong." And I realized, this is last night, he said, "I realized I can't smell anything." Yeah, not good.
Uh-oh. That is not a good sign.
Yeah, no, not at all. We are true fans of yours too.
Ilky
in Turkey.
Yes.
We're hanging out. Sarah's in Michigan and Ilky's in Turkey. So we're gonna have some fun. We are worldwide now. All right.
Global.
Yes. Let me pull my stuff up and we can go. Do we have we do have Walgreens today, don't we?
I'm not sure. I think so.
I'm gonna check that out right now. I just got an email that said we're going live.
You got an email from yourself?
I got one from YouTube.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, YouTube.
Yes. That does bring up something, though. I got a great note from Mike, which remind me after I find this thing from Natalie, telling us about whether we're talking about. For those of you that are here with us for the first time, we make these shows live, and you get to see us behind the scenes figuring out.
Last week was so ugly it was funny.
Figuring out
I remembered being on a show that I wasn't on. It was pretty bad. It's like I remember talking about that, and Joe's trying to be very polite and being like, "Well, yeah, but the show you were on was actually about this." I was like, "Oh, right."
We didn't actually talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We do have.
I'm like, but it's in my notes.
It did happen. You just weren't there.
I wasn't there for that show.
All right, guys.
But you know what? The good thing is there's always another show. So
today's is going to be the best one ever.
Best one ever.
You're all.
We should start incorporating that. The best one ever. Today is the best show ever.
Today on the best show ever. All right, you ready to do this?
Best show ever. Or our most dramatic show ever for Bachelorette fans.
This will be. Before I hit that,
Thank you for showing up.
I'm going to turn this back off for just a second. So Mike, our friend Mike, who listens to the show and watches the show sometimes on YouTube, said that he's getting these notifications that all the time now. And what's happening, guys, and we're trying to figure it out because we're probably as new to YouTube as anybody, is that what we're doing now is Bobby and I are recording this, and we have Ethan, who is our new crack video editor, takes these videos and he gets rid of all the stuff we're doing now and makes it look really nice. So if you like the finished product and you just want to see that, you can come back later and just see those. And you'll know those are the finished product because they actually have the nice front end on it. And so then, and then they're the shorter ones, right? We're not doing 2 at a time like we usually do.
Right.
But what Mike said that we're trying to figure out is he's getting a notification every time those go up as well now. So he's getting tons of notifications that we're going live, and then Ethan is putting up the next
uploading, right? So it's like triple, because this becomes 3. This becomes the original and then 2 more. So
yeah, Bob is in Saudi Arabia right now.
Oh my goodness.
With us. We're in Turkey this morning. We're in Saudi Arabia this morning. That's awesome, Bob.
That's so cool.
Glad you got your shirt. That's
I feel
great.
Very global, even though we actually can't go anywhere. I'm glad other people are other places.
Thanks, Adrian. I'm trying to keep up with Bobby's background of the kitchen.
The kitchen.
I will tell you what happened. It happened, and I think I told people this before, but over here used to be a TV, and now there's a llama over there who's going on the wall in our guest bedroom. But that TV is now up here, and down here on the ground, I started my standing desk, Bobby, started coming in the last couple of days.
Oh.
And so this folding table is going to go away. There'll be a standing desk, and I'm going to turn this around, and we can have the Money with Friends logo. We can have the headlines, whatever we want. Cool. We can have it on behind us. So I'm just trying to keep up with Bobby.
So advanced.
That is.
I'm just trapped in the kitchen. I don't know if you guys are getting punchy. We were talking about this before we went on, but I definitely have a lot of issues with the winter and the cold and the darkness. And we're going to take a trip. We'll talk more about it another time, but I'm going to head south for a little bit this winter, I think.
That sounds like you could make your own Elvis song, the Caught in a Trap. I can't go. I love podcasting too much, baby. No, do you know that song?
I don't know
what song I'm talking about?
No.
Like, no.
But I'm just
She's like,
smile.
Let's go.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm just trapped in an apartment in New York City. Trapped.
I'm called.
Was never meant to be here this many hours.
In New York City.
In New York City, bracing for more lockdowns.
Right,
remembering those shows when we thought we might have to do. I did a show once, which by the way, we were criticized for, but we didn't know. I did a show where we talked about like if there is some sort of I don't even think like a quarantine. And we sort of imagined how we would pack for this 3 or 4 day, or maybe possibly as long as a week quarantine. And it was really, it's so bad in retrospect and so horrible how naive we were.
Isn't that crazy?
And we were sort of, haha, it might be interesting, it'll be gone in a few days. And, are we over? It was so naive. Oh my God. So cringy at this point. But we did talk about go bags and things like that. And, buying a few extra cans of tuna fish. Yeah.
It's funny. Annette says to go outside.
No idea.
And going outside is great. But I'll tell you.
I do. And I will go walking in the park in like 20, 30 degrees. I do. It's the darkness really that is the killer for me. It's the darkness. It's that it's
Nick,
dark.
My son gets that in Seattle. He gets that in Seattle. He's like, when he leaves work at 5 o'clock and it looks like midnight, he has a tough time. You know what?
And I'm like in my pajamas at 6 and my husband's like, it's only 6. I'm like, really? I feel like it's 11. It's time for bed. So
to answer Ilke's question, I'm in Texas, and the difference, and Bobby, you and I were talking about this. So when I was in Michigan, Detroit is one of the cloudiest cities in the United States. And so it's cloudy quite a bit. And I can feel my mood different here because there's a clear sky here a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's either raining or it's clear. And man, it is. I can feel my mood change. I can totally feel my mood change.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. We ready to make a couple shows or a show?
Yes, we're doing one show. We're doing one show today.
Because guys, on Monday, and you'll hear this in a minute, our week in review show. Let me make that graphic. It's funny as I watch Ethan's finish YouTube videos, you're so much better at the video part of this by far than me. You're always either looking at the camera or just down from the camera. I watched a video that he edited from like a week and a half ago. And as I'm typing these things and I'm trying to get the graphics up, it looks like I'm totally not paying attention to what we're talking about. Because right where the camera is.
Look, I have my iPad here to the side.
Yes.
So I do look at that,
Well, I can see that, but it's deliberate. Mine looks like, because I've got tabs open all over, I just have to remember to focus on that. So, all right. You guys ready?
All right.
Let's make a show. This is Week in Review for Saturday.
Welcome to the weekend show where we at Money with Friends look back at the highlights of the week that was and get you ready for the week to come. Plus, we answer your questions about anything you want to ask us and weave in your question. Well, let me do that again because we're going to do something different today. I'm going to just say plus our listener segment. Okay. So this is take 2. All right. Yeah. Welcome to the weekend show where we at Money with Friends look back at the highlights of the week that was, get you ready for the week to come, plus our listener segment where we talk about, whatever you guys want us to talk about. It is Saturday, December 5th. Let's talk money with our friends. Welcome to the Money with Friends podcast. I am certified financial planner, Bobbi Rebell, host of the Financial Grown Up podcast, coming to you from my very grown up kitchen in New York City.
And coming to you from my mom's half-finished basement in Texarkana, Texas, where we make the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe Saul-Sehy.
Here on Money with Friends, every weekday we share the latest headlines, why they matter, and specific ideas and advice for your financial life. And on the weekends, we share highlights, preview the week ahead, and of course, talk about your listener questions and comments.
Bobbi, does it feel like a long week because we had such a short week last week? Like the fact that we had to work 5 days in a row this week was exhausting.
You worked 5 days?
Oh, you mean I had a short week? You work 7, right?
No. Yeah. Well, actually, I was going the other way. I was saying that because I manage my own schedule, I do batch things together. So I sometimes do take days off or have less productive days. I've had a lot of procrastination issues, as our Instagram friends know. So
I need to be more like you. I definitely need that.
Not sure about that.
We had a great week last week, though, however, which we're going to review our first week back after the Thanksgiving holiday in the U.S. And man, we got a great week on tap. So let's see which one of our friends is going to help us get this discussion started. All right, let's take a look at next week in the calendar as I pull it up. On Monday, well, actually, what am I doing? I'm starting off with next week.
Aren't we supposed to review?
Let's talk about last week.
Yeah, you had a big show on Monday because you had Masterworks. You were talking, this is interesting, actually. You talked about museums are actually selling art, which is something that was not done before this phase of this season of our lives.
Scott Lynn from Masterworks, who this is the second time I've spoken with Scott, is just such a brilliant guy. And if you missed Monday's show, it's if you like art at all, it's fantastic to listen to for 2 reasons. Number one, the idea that museums, because of COVID, are allowed to sell artwork. And generally they don't, right? People gift artwork to museums. But the bad news is Scott more succinctly explained than I ever could, that if you've got a master artist and they have representative works of art, they'll put maybe their 1 or 2 works of art out and the rest of them just sit in storage. So nobody ever gets to see them. So because of COVID and museums not being able to charge any admission, they're also not being thought of as much. So people aren't making as many donations. They're being allowed during this short period to sell art. And that's really changed the art community. And then he explained, of course, we had to take advantage of the fact that he's, with Masterworks and talk about art is an investment and where does it fit and how is it different than the stock market? So that was on Monday. Tuesday, though, you rolled into some real fun this week with Grant Sabatier. Actually, I got to take back the word fun.
Grant is fun, but Grant
you guys talked about
Tuesday's topic was not fun because
you guys talked about heavy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we lost a great leader in Tony Hsieh, best known for his work with Zappos, and he passed away at age 46. It was, I believe they later came out with the cause of death was smoke inhalation related to a fire at a relative's house. So it was really a tragic loss, but we were able to at least, celebrate his life a little bit and talk about the lessons that he, had. A lot of people would visit Zappos and want to hear how he created this unique corporate culture that was so successful that even when he sold to Amazon, they were kept as a separate entity, which is unheard of. And, Grant had read his book, Delivering Happiness. So Grant talked about that. And I think that's something people should definitely, if they have time to rewind and go to that episode, I think Grant had a lot to add to the conversation about Tony Hsieh. He knows a lot about him. And that was a great discussion.
Well, based on Grant's past, what Grant's done, he's definitely somebody who knows a lot about how delivering happiness can also deliver success for you. And if you're at all interested in the world of work, I was way behind Bobbi on reading Delivering Happiness. And when I did, which was maybe not that long ago, a couple of years ago, it bowled me over. It was a fantastic read. So I'd recommend to everybody go out and read Delivering Happiness. I haven't
read it, but now it's on it's on my next holiday list. I mean, I did put out a financial grown-up holiday reading list, so it's not on that, but I will put it on my list for soon after the holidays.
Well, I'll tell you what I did. I actually didn't read it. I took it out on my runs, and I found it made me go run more often because I got excited about listening to the book more. So during the time that I had that, so I did the Audible version. And what's going to be a little creepy now is that Tony reads it, but you can also hear and he tells some stories that some appear in the book, and some he kind of riffs a little bit and talks a little bit more about what's going on that's outside the book. So so the audio version for me was really good. Yeah, it was good.
I like that. And that probably works for podcast listeners too, because they like to listen to things. And so Wednesday, we actually talked about another smart person who a lot of people look up to, and that was Jeremy Siegel. You may know him as the Wharton professor. He's often credited for calling the Dow to reach 20,000 back in 2015, which I don't love those things, because I think it's inevitable in theory that the Dow reaches all of these different milestones. But nevertheless, he's known as a really smart guy. And of course, he teaches at my alma mater, so University of Pennsylvania. So we like to talk about Jeremy Siegel. But he predicted that the market could be in for solid gains in the coming year. And what I liked about it was that he had specific reasons that he pointed to, one of which was the healthy money supply, and then vaccine news. And then this is his words, better than expected election results. And what he was alluding to, and again, this is Jeremy Siegel's words, not ours, is that his perception was that that you had some certainty in that he believes that Joe Biden will be the next president. Jeremy Siegel saying that because I know some people push back because the election, as of this recording, has not been certified. And he believes also that the Republican gains in Congress will create a balance so that we'll have a more moderate government. And that's what he meant by that. But I thought that it was interesting that he gave specific, tangible reasons, not just it'll go up because the general tide is always up and there's a lot of momentum.
I've seen Jeremy Siegel speak live. I was at a conference in Milwaukee, and he spoke there, and it was entertaining. And he is a brilliant guy, and I believe absolutely nothing about what you guys talked about that day. Well, it isn't that I don't believe it. I believe the stuff. I just never want to act on that, right? So I.
But I think it's interesting to have the conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I thought it was I thought you guys had a great conversation about it. I just don't want to act on any of that. It doesn't matter who it is, Jeremy Siegel, anybody else. I go, yeah, okay, that's neat. Play the long game, people. That's my feeling. The second I start betting on which way the market's going, the second it starts disappointing me, I think.
But effectively, you're betting on it going up, Joe, if we're being honest.
Sure, but what am I betting on when it goes up? I'm betting on the same stuff Jeremy Siegel's betting on anyway, which is that the economy is going to continue. So I'm betting the economy, but I'm not betting on it next year. I'm betting on it 20 years from now, and I'm not betting on whether the market over the short run, the next 12 months, is going to be a fantastic place or not. Even if it's not, I'm still betting on the economy.
Okay, but Jeremy Siegel's also very smart because he got us talking about it.
Well, that's what I said. I've seen him live. He's a brilliant dude. He's a brilliant dude, and the data's all there, and I think that's great. And by the way, before we get too far away from Monday, because we've got some nice chat going on with us as we make the show live. Adrian, going back to Monday's show, says that more art is getting lost to the public, the wealthier public, who can afford to buy museums art, meaning the museum, which is available to the average person, sees art go bye-bye, Bobby, while some wealthy person puts it in their house. I want to be clear about this, Adrian. This art, and this is what Scott talked about. If you go back and listen to Monday, that art was already lost. The pieces they're selling, nobody is seeing anyway. And the fact that it can be out there in the public, which also makes the artwork that they do show even more valuable because it's being spread to more households. Sure, it's going into a wealthy household, but this is not, museums aren't selling something that the public was seeing anyway. What this also helps do is, because the museum's bringing in money, it helps the museum to continue operating, maybe with longer hours, maybe more free days for more people. Like when I was in Detroit, the DIA, the Detroit Institute of Art, would have free days sometimes where you didn't pay to get in. They can do more of those things because this stuff that's just sitting in storage is bringing in some money. So from that end, I really like what they're doing. On to Wednesday, or Thursday on. We're on to me then.
Yeah.
Yes.
You and Jason Harris.
Yeah. So Jason and I had a couple great conversations. You have watched the Queen's Gambit, haven't you?
Yes. The whole thing. We binged it. Yeah. We committed to that. It was great.
Our collaborators were so interesting this week and so different, right? The stuff you and Grant talked about versus what Jason and I talked about, different stuff. And Jason wanted to talk about the fact that chessboards are flying off the shelves. And the fact that this hit show is bringing back this ancient game that people really, frankly, a lot of people don't care that much about. And all of a sudden you're seeing all these people playing chess all over the place. And we talked about momentum and about not just as an investor, but with your career and thinking about the wider universe. And then, of course, because Jason's in advertising, Netflix thinking about how do we maybe make more money when we do this, right? Are there ways that we can maybe get in on selling chessboards and make even more cash, which scares the hell out of me. I don't know about you.
Well, if it was on Amazon Prime, that would be interesting. No, it's true. Because Amazon, if they don't already, I should know this, but they could easily have like some kind of a barcode on the TV or something where you just scan your phone. You can get a choice of the top 10 chessboards.
Yeah. Yeah. So. That still scares me. I still don't like that. And on Friday, we turned our attention to a piece by Carrie Underwood, and we didn't talk that much about Carrie Underwood. We talked a lot though about something I think that affects a lot of us is fear, right? And Carrie Underwood talked about how she was on her way to Hollywood to compete, of course, in the big competition she was in, American Idol. Got it. Anyway, so she was taking part in American Idol, but she almost didn't get on the plane because she was so overcome by fear. And we talked about how Jason, in his career, working with some of these big brands like Nordstrom and Ben & Jerry's and Walgreens and all these big campaigns he's been on, about walking into these rooms with all of these powerful people and kind of feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome like we all do. And we talked about how we push through fear.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had, you talked about moving past the fear versus the alternative of doing, or he said this actually, sorry, I'm giving you credit for Jason's wisdom. Sorry about that, Joe. He talked about moving past the fear versus the alternative of doing nothing. And he was talking about the fact that if you do nothing, it will get you nowhere. And then you had something, I had no idea. You had some kind of an elephant mantra that I wanted to ask you about.
Well, there's that phrase, and I don't like the phrase, eat the elephant one bite at a time. Like, don't look at the whole. I don't
understand that, Joe.
I don't like it either. You've never heard anybody say that phrase before?
No.
Oh, that's a common phrase.
I have a note here. Ask Joe, what did he mean? I don't understand it.
It's a big thing. Don't look at the whole big thing. Look at just one little thing. Like, as an example, when we would fill out the FAFSA form during college years for my kids, you get this form and it just looks like this huge form, right? Or you're filling out your tax form and you're like,
it's bad.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, I do not want to do this. Take it one question, just answer the question you're on. Don't look at the whole thing. And you know what? Every year with the FAFSA, I would fill it out that way. And I would always get through it in very quick time because I wouldn't try to look at the entire elephant. I would just look at that one little thing. But eating an elephant one bite at a time is not something I want to do. I don't want to eat any elephants.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So that's Friday. That was our week.
That was our week.
In just a second, Bobby and I are going to have next week's preview, not just what's coming up on the show, but what's happening overall in the economy and in the world of finance. But first, let's start with everybody out there who loves a good story. Now narrow that down to all those passionate podcast listeners who are dedicated to living their best life. That's you, right? Well, Walgreens created a new, easier way to shop, save, and stay well just for you, and it's called My Walgreens. And when you join, you'll discover personalized deals, instantly earn unlimited rewards, and receive real-time local health alerts. Join for free at mywalgreens.com. Exclusions apply. Bobby, big week coming up next week.
Big week. Well, Bola is back. It's kind of a special appearance because normally you and I are on Mondays, but Bola steps in with a really good show.
Yeah, we preempted Bola's normal spot with Thanksgiving. Actually, Thanksgiving preempted Bola's spot.
It was a jumble.
And so Bola will be back for one more on Monday. Then coming up, also, by the way, coming up on Monday is, and I have it right here, economic news, CB employment trends. Some of the things I like about this Monday data stuff coming in, there's a question that they answer here, which is they ask this survey, are jobs hard to get right now? And the percentage of people answering that question, I think, is always pretty interesting. A few times a year, you'll hear reporters talk about where that indicator goes. So that's on Monday, plus jobs that are hard to fill, by the way, jobs that nobody seems to want. The big name, there's very few companies declaring earnings this week. Toll Brothers, the builder, is one of the few big companies that on Monday is declaring earnings. Liz Seagrin joins you, Bobby.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's a writer at Fast Company. She's also the author of The Rocket Years, which is on my holiday reading list. I do for Financial Grown Up. I do books that I love this year that if you haven't read, you should read over the holidays. And so The Rocket Years is on the Financial Grown Up holiday reading list. She's wonderful.
Yeah, such good stuff. I can't wait to see what you guys collaborated on. We have the NFIB Small Business Optimism Index on Tuesday. So it'll be interesting to see what did small businesses, of course, do during the Black Friday days. Maybe we'll get some ideas there. That's probably going to be later, though. I'll bet that we're going to look at time before that. Big names declaring earnings, AutoZone, H&R Block, and the one I'm looking forward to is the really troubled retailer GameStop. You know, with these consoles, more and more selling games directly on the console. Where does GameStop fit in?
I don't know, but it's interesting because people are looking to them to get these consoles because they're all out of stock. Like the new Xbox is out of stock. And I will tell you one thing that people love about GameStop is that they will buy old games. Yes. And I think you can buy used games. So there is a market for that. I'm kind of surprised they weren't rolled into something like someone didn't buy them just because of that brand value. Because I will tell you, they've got some big fans in my household.
But you look at GameStop now, and yeah, there's old games, cartridges. There's probably some in the closet right over here. But largely now, games are digital. And so, a year from now, 3 years from now, how's that going to continue? Are we going to still see the games the way that we did? I think that's going to be interesting. On Wednesday, Liz is back again with you. Big names: Adobe, Vera Bradley, Campbell's Soup on Wednesday. We've had a Campbell's Soup week here. It's been kind of cold. So I'm a little bit all about that. Thursday, Consumer Price Index happens. That's always a big day. That's a big day for, of course, inflation numbers. Farnoosh Torabi is back on the show, and that's always interesting as well. Big names declaring earnings: Lululemon Athletica, Broadcom, and Oracle, a couple of tech heavy hitters. And try not to think about going on vacation when I say this one, Bobby. Vail Resorts. Vail Resorts.
Vail's bought up a lot of other resorts. So it's not just the Mountain Vail. They own a ton of other mountains. And, it's hard. They're in the travel and leisure business. And a lot of people want to go skiing this winter, but I think the capacity is going to be very low, that they will get as many people as they can handle in terms of, but they just won't be able to sell that many tickets. I don't know how it'll work. I'm not sure because the chairlifts have to be spaced out. But then again, like a golf, skiing can be very outdoors. You can be very far away from a lot of people. So in a way, it is a COVID friendly sport. So I think that's kind of up in the air, depending on how they can manage it.
Yeah, I just hear that name, Bobby, and I just want to go.
I know. We spend many happy times at Beaver Creek, which is part of Vail. So
that's fantastic. Friday, we turn to the producer side of stuff. Of course, we're going to see more inflation here, but on the producer side, it's called the Producer Price Index. Very quiet day, only 4 companies declaring earnings. So all in all, Bobby, a quiet week, a few big numbers and a few big retailers, but mostly it's going to be the Liz Seagrin and Farnoosh Torabi show with you and me.
Yes, absolutely. So for our listener segment today, though, Joe, we actually flipped And instead of them asking us a question, we asked them a question. So we asked our listeners what their holiday shopping philosophies were. And we got some great answers that we're excited to share. I think I sent you them. You may have them up right now, hopefully.
I have them right
Good.
here.
So you go, because I have to pull them up on my phone now.
Well, one that I like here is from Jackie K4. Says, I use big sales to stock up for the year, e.g. annual supply of face cream, makeup, etc. I got to tell you, my mom does the same thing. She finds a great sale. And by the way, that's not just this year. She finds a great sale. She stocks up on that stuff for the year. She keeps a great budget, not just a money budget, but a budget of how much stuff she's going to use. So she doesn't have pallets of crap sitting around, but she buys enough that she can get through the next several months, locks in the sale, and saves a lot of money that way.
Yeah, I will tell you one thing I like at this time of year. With if you shop at department stores, even virtually, you can do it online the same. You can, if you buy things in the cosmetics area, maybe even as gifts for other people, they give you a lot of freebies, and they also have really fun gift sets that you can sort of divide up however you want to gift them. And I'm a sucker for all the gift with purchase stuff. So I love this time of year because this is like gift with purchase, like, the height of it.
Yes.
The holidays. And they also have, a lot of sort of sampler sets where you can get special holiday editions of things, and they give you lots of different things to try. If you get somebody on the phone, by the way, they can actually send you more. You can talk them into even giving you more freebies. Or if you go in person,
really,
you can just chat them up. Oh yeah, you can chat them up.
Just say, hey, can I have another one of those?
Yeah, you just say, do you have more samples? I really love your products. I would love to try more things. Do you have, maybe extra foundation? They'll even sometimes they'll pour you a little bit of a makeup into a special container for you to try. Yeah, absolutely. What else do you have? I love your stuff. Kill them with kindness, Joe. You'll get free stuff. It works.
Do you do any regifting?
I don't. I'd have to really think about it, but I don't.
I got a really nice thing.
I would return a gift and then buy something new with that cash, because that doesn't count.
Here's the thing, and I'm curious about the people hanging out with us live, what they think of this. So I got a really cool thing. I won't say what it is because it'll give away who I'm going to give it to. But I got this really cool thing, Bobby. I can't use it, but I know that a family member would love it, would absolutely love it. So without taking any of the packaging off, the packaging's still there, just taking this thing, I'm going to give it to a family member. It's like a kick-ass gift for them. It's probably what would have been something I would have given them anyway. But I opened it and I went, yeah, I just can't use this. So in that case, would you regift?
I'd return it and rebuy it.
Would you really? It is new. It still has the cellophane on it.
But you just said you opened it. That's not true. You said you opened it.
No. I'm sorry. Well, let me redefine that. I opened up the box around it, and the thing is still in a box. So it came in a shipping box. The person that gave it to me was not in town. So I opened up the shipping box, and there was the thing still in cellophane, still completely, it is brand spanking new, never been ripped open.
Do you give them the gift receipt with it in case they want to exchange it, though?
That's a special, yes. Let's say yes, but that's a longer story that you and I can talk about another time.
Okay, let's do another one.
Here
we have another. Okay, let's do another listener comment on the gifting. So one is do less. Fund 529s for grandkids, and things like that for your kids.
I really like that. These turning the holidays into a time to help kids build and learn a little bit about money and how it works. And I know there's quite a few different programs now that do that are really exciting. It's funny in these answers, there's also people going the exact opposite way. One that says, if I have a good idea for a gift for someone and I can afford it, I buy it. I don't think about that at all. And our friend Paula Pant, that's her feeling. She's like, you know what? When I give somebody stuff, I want to save my brain power for bigger stuff than shopping. I just go shop. I buy it. I don't worry about the sale. I don't buy very much stuff. So the way I save money is I just only buy a few things. I don't buy a lot of things. And I
Well, we
don't.
can waste a lot of energy waiting for that sale. And I definitely do that. Like I will put something, I'll make sure that I'm logged in and then I'll put something in my cart and then I wait 24 hours because then you often get a coupon. And that does really work still, even if it's another 10% off. And then I'll join the mailing list and I'll get my 15% off. And then I get off the mailing list. And it is kind of exhausting. I mean, there is a point to that. And this might
Yeah.
be for an item that's not that expensive to begin with, but I don't know. I just don't want to be the sucker that paid more than I should have when someone else paid less. And I hate nothing more than buying something and then finding out that it went on deep sale. Although you can often go back, by the way, and have a price adjustment. That's an important thing that people should do. And I'm that person that does that.
I've
So,
seen a lot of people ask about that lately, like as Amazon had their big sales, asking, "Hey, can I get a price adjustment?" And at Amazon specifically, it depends on if it was Amazon product or if it was them reselling somebody else's product. In the case that I saw online, this specific product, they actually had to return the product. Ridiculous. They had to
yeah.
return the product and buy it again to get a huge discount. It was like a 30% discount. There's one more here. Karen SD Karen F on Instagram. I think doesn't like the. I get the feeling Karen doesn't like the crowd. Says early November, ignore Black Friday, and then enjoy the holiday season. I think I'm with Karen.
Yeah. Just take it off the table so you're done with it. I like that
Absolutely.
one. What's your shopping philosophy for the holidays, Joe?
I make a list, a very specific list. I try to buy stuff that is quirky, that is something that that person and I have in common, something that they like that I also appreciate. So it clearly came from me. But it's not about me. It's about them and our connection. I try to make that. So I found myself on Etsy a lot, actually, because I try to find these homemade things that you're not going to find in a department store that matches you. The other thing that I like, and I actually learned this from our friend OG on Stacking Benjamins, he likes giving the subscriptions like you just gave to your husband. The subscription for something they really like that lasts all year long. Like OG gave me a coffee subscription last year, and I love it. Once a month, I get this coffee in the mail that's different than the month before, and man, it was a fun year. And instead of getting a gift once, every month, I think about what a cool dude that guy is for giving me that super gift. So that's mine. How about yours?
Well, you kind of just revealed mine because I do love to give subscriptions. And I did give my husband this, it's a cocktail. I think it's called Cocktail Courier. And every month he gets a box with all of the ingredients for a fun cocktail along with the recipe.
That's
And, there's
fantastic.
obviously the accompanying website and all that. And so he can be his own mixologist. So I thought that was fun. I mean, I think especially in this time when we really need things to look forward to, knowing that you're getting sort of a gift every month, no matter how big or small it is, I think is really, really good. And the other thing is that, we're kind of in this split world where the people that haven't had an interruption in their income are probably doing a lot better than they would have been doing otherwise because they're spending so much less. And there's all this data showing our savings rates are going up. And if you're invested in the market, you've probably done very well, especially if you were in certain stocks. But then we have people that are really, really suffering, and that are not getting help at this point from our government. And I think that another thing you can do if you're at a loss for someone to give a gift, or even just this is also just a good idea in general, is to donate to an organization in someone's name. Donate to a charity that's meaningful to that person in their name if you are in a good economic position. And I think that's really good. And, that can even be something like if you buy gift cards to a restaurant to help support that restaurant that is trying to operate in a safe way. And maybe you give your friend a gift certificate to a restaurant because then you're giving the friend a break if they feel comfortable dining outside or whatever it may be. And you're
Yeah.
really supporting the economy. So a gift card, especially to a small business, by the way, we did get a question about, marketing for small businesses. I mean, I think gift cards to a small business is actually a great thing, whether it's a restaurant or whatever, because you are giving money to that business in addition to giving the gift to the friend. So that's a
Yeah.
unique thing. This always really, but especially this year, I think is a really good thing to think about, unless, if there isn't a specific thing that person really wants,
Yeah.
if you're at a
I
loss.
I love that idea. I love it. Think local. Think
Think
local.
local, and definitely think about the kinds of businesses that need you to buy a gift card from them.
Hey, just before Bobby and I sign off, just one quick thing. Thanks to people that have left us a thoughtful reviews of the show.
Are you
lately.
really going to do this, Joe? Oh my goodness. Okay,
Absolutely.
go.
Yes. Two that I want to highlight. One is a Smart Fun podcast in about 20 minutes. Another one, Grows on You, which I also like, because I think that the fact that we're 6 days a week, Bobby, and the shows, our contributors are so different than each other. I love that idea.
Oh yeah.
Give us some time and we grow on you. We got a really thoughtful one the other day though by Sotel OJ3. Gave us 4 stars and said the host and their guests provide various financial tips and advice, some of which you may not know unless you're in the position they've been in. So, Bobby, with your position reporting on the news, mine sitting with a lot of different families talking about behind the scenes their financial planning and also just looking at things from the financial planner side. So I think I love that, recognizing that we do have, and our contributors, frankly, have these points of view that you wouldn't get unless you were with them. And then they had some cons for us, which I thought were also very thoughtful. Should leave politics and feelings aside, recent shows, they already state the election's over, not to worry when the Electoral College still needs to vote. Not all states impose laws that prohibit the Electoral College from voting against a popular vote, so the volatility of the market is still there. Pfizer did announce how well their vaccine works, but failed to mention the profit the owner made from selling shares the same day as the news. Long term, yes, everything will even out, but they did not cover their 2 main points for not worrying, though. And I thought that was very thoughtful. And I wanted to say thank you, and I wanted to address actually both of those. The second piece of that, I feel like, was a great point because of the fact that we actually covered the Pfizer CEO. So for people who don't know what happened, the Pfizer CEO sold a bunch of stock right after they declared that they had this vaccine and made a ton of money, right? And it looked like, the way that some reporters were reporting it, like there was some big impropriety happening. The bad news is, and this is a shame on Joe point, we actually covered this on Stacking Benjamins. And because of that, I made a decision not to bring it up here with my contributor on that day who wanted to talk about something else. That news, by the way, wasn't out when Bobby, when you guys broke the news, you and Liz did that story. We didn't have the CEO story for a couple days later. So that was on me. And I decided not to. Now, what's funny is this is a different show. And it was big enough that we totally should have covered that, because I'll tell you in 3 seconds here is this was great financial planning by the CEO. And it's not, hey, the rich dude gets richer. It was actually back in the summer, they set a price saying, the financial planner helped them set a price saying, if it ever gets to here, I want to sell to diversify. They own a lot of stock. And by the way, you can look at insider trading and you will see this stuff. And people hear the term insider trading, they think something bad happened. That has happened before, but insiders also have to report when they're trading. And you can always see a good financial planner in the background, or a good financial planning team, when you see these sales of the same amount of stock or these whatever. But there was no impropriety. It was actually a great thing that they did, setting this up ahead of time. The CEO's really busy doing a lot of different stuff. The fact, though, that I didn't report on that, I love that. And it pushes us to continue to make better shows. So I love that. The second piece about the election, we've been doing pieces, Bobby and I and our contributors, for a long time, saying that, and we have reported this, we've done this over and over and over. No matter who won the election, we did stories showing that people overdo changes in their portfolio based on short-term changes in Washington, when every study shows that what you think that you should have done is not what you should have done in the long term. So the fact that we downplayed that piece, I think actually was us doing you a service. And yes, the Electoral College could change the election. You know what that's going to do to your long-term financial picture? Nothing, historically, nothing. So even though we've said that the election is over, and technically they're right, Bobby, that the Electoral College hasn't acted, don't act on it, guys. Don't act on it. And that's also why you have us here 6 days a week, is to remind you of the fact that some of this stuff that you go and bless you, Cheryl Cheryl and I will literally go, my spouse Cheryl and I will go turn on the news. And before we even turn on, we'll go, hey, you want to get mad for 20 minutes? And we go, yeah, because no matter what side you're on, you're mad. But remember, Stephen Covey has these 3 pots in his book, Habits of Highly Effective People. There are things you can control. There are things you can influence, and there are things you can neither control nor influence. At this point, you've already voted. You've already done your service. There is nothing you can control or influence. You can just get angry about this pot 3 stuff. Long-term, statistically, historically, none of this matters. And I know those of you that are really into politics and you like getting mad about pot 3 stuff are going to disagree with me on this, but that's why we're here. We're here to disagree with you. We're not here to agree with you all the time. So I thought that was a great review, though. And I want to thank that person for putting that out there because very, very thoughtful stuff, Bobby. And I love the way this show is coming together. I love, by the way, we're also the YouTube videos. If you go to our YouTube channel now, we're starting to put up finished products. You can not only watch us make these live 3 days a week, you can also see them fully packaged and finished a couple days later. So we've got a new friend, Ethan, on board helping us with that, and he's doing a heck of a job. So things continue to morph here, Bobby.
They do.
How do people help us make this show?
Well, first of all, definitely subscribe to that YouTube channel that we are building out. You just go to YouTube and search for Money with Friends and you will find us. But also, please stay close to our Instagram because that's where we post question stickers and polls. And you can also be part of the show if you can't join us live. And that's at Money Friends Pod. It's the same handle on Twitter at Money Friends Pod. And of course, you can learn more about the show on our website, moneywithfriendspodcast.com.
Awesome. And we will see, well, we're not going to see you until Tuesday. It'll be Bola Succumbi and I from Clever Girl Finance back here on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
I was holding in that
Only
sneeze for so
minutes.
long, Joe. It was like, it was so bad. I was like sitting here like,
that was great.
You
need, I got this on my new little mixer thingy. I got this mute button now, which you need one of these.
Well, it wasn't so much the sneeze. It's more on camera, you know.
On camera. Yeah. All of a sudden, Bobby's hair goes like this. Every time I sneeze, Bobby, my hair goes like this. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks,
That's
everyone.
great, guys. Well, hey, everybody. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll